I will be absolutely surrounded by books by the end of this video. I literally cannot believe that we're already talking about 2022. Do you know those books that have been on your TBR so long you no longer remember what they're about? That's how big it is. Like, you literally break a window with this book. This might be the worst choice I've ever made, or the best one. We'll see in a year. Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise of Pages on Instagram and also on Twitter, and welcome to the second day of Christmas Countdown. So today I am doing something, you've already seen it from the title, but I'm doing something I have never done before. This might be the worst choice I've ever made, or the best one. We'll see in a year. In any case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list 22 books for 2020. So 2020, 2022 books on day 2. That's a lot of 2s. I thought it would be fun to do this on day 2. In any case, I'm not going to ramble too much because there's no time. Some of these I am positive about. Some of them I've put on here to push myself into that direction. I have to say that I will try to do this next year and look back on the ones that I've put on this list, but I'll see that in a year. And without further ado, let's just get into it. I do have to say that I don't know everything about every single book, hence, I mean, I haven't read them yet, and I don't do synopsis as well, so there we go. And yeah, let's just get into it. These are in no particular order. I have just all put them down next to me here, and let's just get going. So for book number 1, this is one that I should have read during Desert-a-thon this year, and that is Reign the Earth by A.C. Gowan. This is the only thing I know that this is a desert vibe book, and that this has to do with some kind of tribe, I think. War. It's a kingdom with war. In any case, I was supposed to read this during Desert-a-thon twice this year, I think, both the May and the November edition. But I haven't read it either times, and I mean, I really do want to, so I hope that maybe I can put this on my TBR for Desert-a-thon this year and actually read it. Who knows? I at least have a year now to complete this, and we shall see if I ever get to it. Moving on to book number 2, this is a bit of a weird one because I feel like this is not one I have actually ever talked about really, but this is just something that I've picked up a little bit ago and it speaks to me because of weird reasons, and that is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. The reason why I'm drawn to this is not even because of the fact that I know what it's about, because I don't, but this one has the name January in it, or the month January, and I'm a January baby, so I really want to see if I can read it in January. How cool would that be though? How cool would it be to read this in January? In any case, I hope we can actually do that in January. I really don't know what this is about. Something with artifacts in a mansion? I don't know. I mean, I should probably read the synopsises of books I buy, shouldn't I? But, I mean, I have read it at one point and it's on my TBR, so I'm not going to repeat that every single book I come to. I do have a couple of books where I know what they're about, but not this one. So yeah, I hope that I can read this in January, otherwise I have an entire year to finish this. Again, not gonna keep repeating that. But yeah, that's book number 2. So book number 3 is a bit of a weird one because I've actually put that on my TBR for this month, and that's These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in, 1926 Shanghai, and I'm just in general very excited about this one. I've heard amazing things. The reason why I'm putting it on this list is 1, because I really want to read it, and also its sequel because I think it's a duology, and also because I'm going to be reading it because it's one of Ashley's favorites. I'm going to probably read that somewhere early in the year, or at least I hope to. This is definitely on not even the back burner of my mind, it's on the front burner of my mind, and I really want to get this one soon, hence why I'm putting it on this list, because pushing myself into that direction. Book number 4 is a sequel, and I have loved book 1, and I know I haven't read this one because it didn't get great reviews, and that one is Blood and Honey by Shelby Marin. You and I both know that I love Serpent and Dove. It's one of my absolute favorites. This one, however, I feel like a lot of people have said that it's sort of it's struggling from second book syndrome in a trilogy. I think Serpent and Dove was supposed to be a duology, but wasn't, and so I feel like this will probably stretch a bit, but I do really want to get to the entire trilogy. I don't have the third book yet, which is called Gods and Monsters. I will probably buy that at some point early on next year, once I actually get to this one. I'm putting this on this list because I want to hold myself accountable and just actually push this book onto the TBR. So yeah, we'll see if I can actually get to it in the year of 2022. It sounds so weird, so far away, but yeah, this is book number 4. I literally cannot believe that we're already talking about 2022. It's been 2 days ago since I was like, oh, we're leaving 2020. So strange. But anyway, let's move on to book number 5. Let's continue on with another sequel, and this is City of Spells by Alexandra Christo. This is the second book in the Into the Crooked Place duology. It's very thin. I've put it on my TBR multiple times, and it's kind of like a heist book from what I remember of the first one. I definitely have to read a recap of the first one before I go into this one, but I just really want to get this duology done, and the first one was, I would say, mediocre at best. Like, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't amazing, and I think that if this one will be the same, I'll probably get rid of the entire duology, but I'll be done with the series at least, so we'll see if I think this one is a lot better than book 1. To be honest, I think we're like 5 books in, or 6, and I've already lost count of how many books. Wait, I can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5. Yeah, as long as I can count, that's 5. Let's move on to book number 6. Book number 6 is another book on my pile of shame. I have so many shame books, apparently. And that is The Baron and Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is about I actually read the synopsis a day ago. I think it has something to do with magic, and the main protagonist gets a new stepmother, and they're living sort of very deep in the hearts of Russia. Lots of snow, very, very wintry. So I think I will read this for Polarthon. At least I hope I will in 2022. I was supposed to read this during Polarthon this year. That didn't happen. I know that this is one of Sasha's absolute favorites. It's actually a gift. I got this for my birthday last year from, still this year, but my 24th birthday from Sasha. So I really, really have to read it, and hence why I'm putting it on this list and pushing myself to read it. I will be absolutely surrounded by books by the end of this video, but that is fine. Do you know those books that have been on your TBR so long you no longer remember what they're about, and then when you actually get the books, you don't read them, but they're there and you should read them? Well, that's this book. This book is And I Darken by Kirsten White. I have the entire trilogy, and I should actually read it. I got this, I think not even this year. I got it this year, the year before. It's been sitting on my shelf for over a year. Nearly 2 years, I think, at this point, and I just really have to read it. Quite honestly, I have no clue what this is about. Honestly, no clue, and I'm just gonna leave it at that and push myself to read it. Like, it's such a beautiful cover as well. I think it would work for a lot of prompts, and I have to get to it. That's just a thing. I have to get to it. So I'm putting it on this list and pushing myself to read this book. Making this video makes me realize how many books I've had and for how long I've had these books. It's not a good look on me. But let's move on to the next one, which is, I don't remember the count. It's fine. Next up is another sequel, and that is The Heart Forger by Rin Chupeco. I read The Bone Witch this year, and I read this because of the fact that it is Cheyenne's unicorn. It's her absolute favorite, I think. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first book, but I am very tempted to see where the story will go, and hence why I can't wait to actually get into the second book. This follows the main protagonist, who is a necromancer or a blood witch, and I just loved how savage this book was. So I can't wait to get to that a lot more, but I'm also curious to see how because we sort of got two different time frames, how sort of the past, what happened to get to sort of the flash forwards that we got in book 1. So I really can't wait to see what will happen in this one. I feel like I'll probably cry though because of certain things happening, but we'll see about that. Do you remember where I said that I have books that I just got and never read and just don't know what they're about? Same thing. Song of Wraiths and Ruins, I'm pretty sure the sequel has already been out as well, and I've heard amazing things about this. I feel like this will be right up my sleeve, I just haven't picked it up yet. I think this is also something with magic. Oh. His sisters in the prosperous desert city. Oh, I might read this for Desert-a-thon. Who am I kidding? I probably won't, but I have to read this in 2022, hence why I put it on this list. Like I said, I don't know too much about it. I literally plucked it off my shelf because I just need to read this. So here we are. I feel like with a lot of these books, I'm just rambling on about how I need to read them and don't know what they're about. That's with like half of the books on my shelf, at least the ones I haven't read. If I've read them, I usually know what they're about, but I'm just really bad with this. So next up we have These Divided Shores by Sarah Rosh. This is the sequel to These Rebel Waves. I think I've read These Rebel Waves like 2 years ago. Very long time. I really have to read a wrap up. I actually at one point started the audiobook for this one and just never continued. So I really should. I do know that this is about like piracy and there's interesting characters in here. I also remember that I was tempted to DNF the first book, so we'll see what I think on this one. The second half of the first book though really made things better and made me want to pick up this book, so I will. Hopefully I will in 2022 because it's been on this TBR for so long and I just need to get to it. Speaking of books I've had for absolute ages and just haven't touched yet, Heart of Thorns by Brie Barton. I'm pretty sure the entire trilogy is out at this point. I got this in a Fairy Loot box years ago. Literal years ago. I don't get Fairy Loot boxes anymore because I just don't know where to leave all of the goodies, but I've had this for absolute years. I have no bloody clue what this is. Like, it's so new that it's, like, you can feel it creaking. It creaks. It's absolutely creaking. But I've never continued this. It's about magic. I've heard nothing about this, quite honestly. I don't know a lot of people who've read this, so if you have, please let me know what you thought of it. I just really want to get to books that have been on my shelves for so long and actually see what they're about, so I cannot wait to see what I think of this one, so that is the next book. I have now also officially lost count on which book we are at, but let's just keep going. Speaking of books that have been on my shelves for the longest time, I feel like I have talked about book 1 in this series so often until I finally read it, and now we're on book 2 and I still am saying the same thing. And this is talking about the Fallen Kingdom series, and this is Rebel Spring. This is, at least I hope that this is the second book. And I have read Fallen Kingdoms, I think last year December, so about a year ago, and I haven't continued it yet. It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but it also wasn't one of my absolute favorites. I've also spoiled myself for this series, so I kind of know a little bit more, which I don't mind too much. I do mind spoilers, usually, but with this one, it's okay. I just really have to continue this. I know that it's probably gonna be a quick read, because the first one was. This is basically, I mean, it's no surprise there, but this is about multiple kingdoms being at war with each other, and considering it's called Fallen Kingdoms, I'm pretty sure that's not a surprise to you. And we follow the point of views of multiple characters in these different kingdoms, and so one is more interesting than the other. There's a couple of questionable things in there, but I just really have to get to this one and the rest of the books because I have all of them on my shelves. I just haven't yet, so I really should, and this is my conscience telling me to get on with this series. I've just realized this book is bent. What the heck happened to you? Can you see that? This poor book. Well, In any case, this is Star Daughter by Sveta Takar. I actually received this for Christmas last year, I think, and this was supposed to be a buddy read in January, February, March, April, May. No, it was supposed to be a buddy read with Jane, and we haven't picked it up yet for multiple reasons. On one point, she was in a reading slump, I was in a reading slump, we had other things that we had to read, and it just never came to it, so I'm gonna put this on my list for 2022. I hope that we will have a chance to actually read it together. Otherwise, I am gonna plunge ahead because I really, really want to read this book. And this is about, as it says, Star Daughter. This is about, our main protagonist is the daughter of a star, and I'm pretty sure her father is mortal. And then at one point, when she reaches a certain age, the sky or the stars are actually pulling her back, something along those lines. So I'm really, really interested how this type of magic will be incorporated in this type of, just how it's going to be done, and I can't wait to dive into this one. Another book on my list that has been there for a long time, I'm pretty sure I won this in a giveaway at some point, and this is Crown of Oblivion by Julie Eschbaugh. This has been on my TBR more times than I care to admit, and quite honestly, the only thing I do know is that our main protagonist will enter some type of trial or some type of run, and if she wins, I think she's absolved of everything, or she's free to go, or she wins something that will help her family, something along those lines. I have started this once before. I read 3 pages, so that doesn't count. But I really, really want to get to it in 2022. I have a feeling that this will be something that I will really enjoy. And so I hope that I can actually get to it this year. I'm also pretty sure that it is a standalone, so that's also really nice. Okay guys, we're going into the thick of things. Into the thick of it. We have a couple of books left, so let's move on with one that I feel like is very outside of my own usual comfort zone. You know that I read a lot of fantasy, and I've lately been reading a lot of contemporary romance, which is not on this list because I don't need to push myself to read those. And that is The Whisper Man by Alex North. I've picked this up a while ago. I think it's like a... Oh, there's a bookmark in here. I definitely haven't read it yet, but... This is, I think, about a town in which people can hear the Whisper Man, so they can hear whispers around their doors. I'm pretty sure it's a thriller. I don't usually read thrillers. I do read murder mystery, anything involving murder, honestly, but I don't really read a lot of thrillers or horror, so I can't wait to read this one. I just have to find the right time. I have a feeling this is going to sit on my shelf until October next year because Halloween, but we shall see. I tend to read things the wrong way around anyway, so I might just read it during summer. Who knows? But I do really want to get to this one because I've heard amazing things, and I want to see if this is something that is for me. So next up is another fairy loot book, actually, non-surprisingly, and that is Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett. I've also put this on my TBR quite a couple of times in the last couple of years, and quite honestly, again, I have no idea what this is about. The only thing I know is that it was a fairy loot book at some point, and I've heard quite a bit of praise back then, but I feel not a lot of people are talking about it anymore, but it is still sitting on my shelves, so I feel like I should read it at some point. I should probably read it in the near future because I've had it so long. If this is something that I don't enjoy, I'll probably get rid of it at some point, but I will have to read it first. So yeah, that is book number I don't remember. Alright, so the next one is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. The second one in this duology, called Rule of Wolves, I think, is already out, so this duology is complete. And King of Scars is a duology that revolves all around Nikolai. So we've seen Nikolai both in the Six of Crows trilogy, the Six of Crows duology, and in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. That's what I wanted to say. And this is his own book. What I've heard, though, for it being a Nikolai book, there's a little bit of a lack of Nikolai in this book. So we'll see how that actually goes. I've also heard a couple of spoilers about this book, so I think that's the reason why I've put it off so long, because I was a bit underwhelmed with it. But I do want to read it myself and see what I think of this, because I did love both Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows when I first read those series, and I don't know, I just really want to see what this is for myself. I do love Nikolai a lot. He's one of my absolute favorites, and so I think it's only fair that I do dive into this book. Speaking of blood magic, we weren't speaking of blood magic, but I do love a book with blood magic, and so I really want to read Blood Heir by Emily Wynne Zhao. I think this is about a girl who's also a necromancer, so she has power and control over blood. I think the sequel to this is also already out, and quite a bit, I think. I'm not sure if this is a duology or a series, but I've heard so many amazing things about this that when I picked it up, I was fully intent to just sit down and read it immediately, but I haven't. And so I really want to push myself to get into this one, because I feel like this will be something that I will absolutely adore. So I cannot wait to read this. It also, looking at this, it makes me feel very wintry, so I might just pick it up in January, who knows? But one way or another, I've always been really intimidated by this one, even though I feel like it's not even the biggest book out there. Like, it's about 450-ish pages, which is pretty decent. Like, it's not that big, but I've been very overwhelmed with this, so I am gonna try and read it in 2022. We are really getting to the end of the list because we have 4 more books left, so that means we just had book 18. I feel like this is a very long video already. I've been filming for like 25 minutes already, so I might have to cut things out. But the next book is actually one that I have talked about quite a bit already, and I haven't yet because I'm scared of the ending and I'm scared it will hurt me, and that is Lightbringer. I don't think I have to say too much about this. I have both a review for Furyborn and Kingsbane up on this channel. I love this series to death, and I'm just scared that I don't want it to be over, and I don't want it to disappoint me, and I don't want to cry. So I've been putting this off for quite a while, but I think it's high time that I actually pick up Lightbringer and finish this trilogy. I will have to read a wrap-up or like a recap of the first 2 books because I don't remember them too well. Because it's been so long, but I do really want to read Lightbringer in 2022, and I have a feeling that this will be the year. Alright, then another one, which is not as intimidating, just something that I've had on my shelf, and I do really want to get to, and that is What? Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. And this is, I think, about a girl who can sense gold. If I remember correctly. Yeah, when there's gold to be had, you can't trust anyone, not a single soul. So our main protagonist actually is able to feel or sense gold. And this has been on my TBR for a long time. This bothers me, by the way, if you're wondering. Yes, why do we do bookish fake stickers? At least let me take it off if you want to. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. But this is something that has been on my TBR for so long, and I feel like I've heard quite a bit about it in the years that it's been out, because I think it's been published for quite a while already. Let me see. Does it state somewhere? 2015, so it's been out for 6 years. So it's high time that I actually read it. I feel like this has been on my radar ever since it was released, maybe a little after that, so it is high time that I read this. I think it's a trilogy, but all of the books are already out, and I should just get to it. Okay, so the second to last book is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in the Darker Shade of Magic series. I've read the first one, really enjoyed it, even though it's urban fantasy, because urban fantasy is not usually my thing. But this is the continuation of that. I have read a little bit of this already. I mean, there's a bookmark in here. I am on page 56. So not that far in. I'm going to leave the bookmark in because I have read the first bit, and we start off following Lila again, which I'm really excited about. I think she's one of my favorite main protagonists I've ever encountered in books. So I can't wait to actually dive into this and see what has happened and how this story will progress, because I feel like the first book was quite a bit of a wrap-up, but also very much an open ending because there were so many questions left unanswered, and I kind of want to know everything. So that is my 21st book on this list. That leaves us to the very final book on this list, and I feel like this one is the most popular one on the list, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Everything I know about this book can be summed up into fantasy, romance, smut, spice, fairies? I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure, honestly. Vampires? I don't know. Magic. It's a fantasy romance, and I think it's one of the most talked about books on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, Twitter, wherever you want to go. I feel like everybody's talking about this book, everybody's reading it, and I mean, I'm not, at least not currently. It is on my TBR, and I do want to get to it, and considering I've been into a huge romance kick, I do want to do that. I think I will at one point, considering it's so big, do a reading vlog on this one and tell you what I actually feel on them. I only own the first one, and that is mostly because of the fact that these books are freaking expensive. Everywhere I can find them, because the first one I got via Femke because she got the hardcover editions, and I said, you know what, just sell me yours. I will. But the other ones, they're all over 30-40 euros for a paperback. Like, it's absolutely mental. That's how popular they are. I think everyone wants a copy. But this is the first book in this series, and yeah, I don't know too much about it, so I want to make a vlog on this at some point, and if I don't like it, I can just, I don't know, knock someone's window in. That's how big it is. Like, you can literally break a window with this book. But yeah, that is my final book on this list, and that is book number 22. Those are 22 books on my list. I'm not gonna put them back in my shelf. I am very surprised that they still look full. And yeah, let's see if I can actually read. I'll probably not read all of them next year. That would be too much to ask, I think. But I'm gonna attempt it. I am now not gonna look at this video until next year. I'm gonna try and read all of them, at least from my own volition, and we'll see if I can actually get to all of them. I want to thank you all so much for watching this second day. I feel like this one is a very long one, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. I will see you tomorrow for day 3, and I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to your channel and press the little bell icon so you get a notification now every single day when the new video goes live, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye!